What's up guys, and welcome back for another EVE Online video. This is the latest installment in my Life as a Corporation Director in EVE Online series. I believe this is episode 14 now. No skin for you this week, I'm afraid. Like if you've been following the series, I try and do a new skin every week in a relevant ship, but I'm actually down in nullsec this week, so I don't have all of my ships with me with the right skins. So I've been unable to do that this week. I mean, I've done this one before a couple of times, I think, but I am in my Gila with the Abyssal Deathglow Hunters skin, which is probably my favourite ship in the game, and possibly the skin to go with it, although some of the other skins for the Gila are really nice, the Abyssal ones. But anyway, on to this week's episode. I got a couple of bits to touch on. There's a few mechanical things, so I learned, again, it's been another sort of learning week for me in terms of EVE mechanics and some PvE stuff. And also just general corporation management stuff again. So every week we have a mining op on a Monday evening. Again, if you follow the series, you'll know that. But I got a bit lax and had stopped putting in the calendar invitation or putting out a mail and stuff. So this week people didn't know it was happening. So on Monday when I logged in, there was just me and one other guy for the mining op, which is obviously fine. If people just don't want to turn up, that's not a problem. But the reason no one was there was because apparently they didn't know it was happening. Which is obviously on me for getting a bit lazy and not communicating it. But what I'm going to try and stress from tomorrow probably, and if anyone's watching this video, that's a scheduled event that happens even if it's not in the calendar, if it's not in the if there's no mail about it. That happens every week. Monday 9 PM there is a corporation or alliance mining op, and even if I can't make it, there's plenty of other people we have these days in that time zone that fly orcas, like, at that event when I run the fleet, there's 2 or 3 orcas in the belt and things, so there's that happens every week. If I don't say anything about it in the run-up, which I will, I'll go back to trying to do so, of course, but that happens all the time. So hopefully we'll have a better uptake this week. As I say, on Monday there wasn't very many of us, just 2, so we called the op early and carried on just doing our own stuff. But yeah, that's because we're trying to encourage as much fleet content as possible. Like that one, Monday at 9, happens every week. That's always there. And there are a couple of other mining ops during the week now that are being managed by one of our other directors, Stelco, and maybe Taj. And they are happening regularly scheduled as well, I believe. So if you attend those normally, they will also be happening. But yeah, I hold my hands up for getting lazy, and I'll go back to scheduling that every week in the calendar. It's just a lot of annoyance because the CCP need to work this out. The calendar system doesn't let you do recurring events, or at least if it does, I've not been able to work out how. So if anyone does know how to do a recurring event in the in-game system, please let me know. But yeah, you can't. So you have to, if you want to, if we're doing the same op at the same time every week, CCP, why can't I just say, yes, do this 10 times in a row, or yes, create 52 copies of this for a year? Why do I have to make 52 versions of it? It's a pretty simple calendar mechanic that everything except EVE seems to be able to do. So that's my gripe out the way. But anyway, for the rest of the week, as I say, I've been down in nullsec, as I touched on in the last video, just generally trying to get to grips with what life is like down there. I've been really enjoying it. There's always a lot going on. There's some decent ISK making opportunities, and it's a new part of the game for me. So it's all experience and learning and keeping it interesting for me, especially in the interim between our next big thing. So far, there hasn't been much uptake from the corporation, but that's okay. If people don't want to be down here, that's no problem. But I will probably try and encourage some more people to get involved. Our hosts are being very accommodating, so it'd be nice to be able to help them out where we can. But in the next few weeks, I will have some real life stuff coming up, so my activity will be down, so I won't be organising as many fleets and getting as actively involved as I would like to. But I'll still be on the game and things, just not as active as I want to be, But I'll touch on that stuff in a couple of weeks' time when it all starts happening. And then, so yeah, that's basically. Yeah, spent the best part of the week just running ratting sites and being on comms with our hosts, and just generally learning about the politics in the area. And I need to get myself sort of involved in more of that. But also then so it's been quite an expensive week because I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, on Tuesday I was just ratting in null and came across something that I've not experienced before, and I'm still not entirely sure what happened, but I'll try and talk about it. Unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of either of these things I'm going to talk about. I'll try and record a bit more often just for when these sort of things happen, so that I can bring it to you guys, but I'm just going to have to talk about it. Basically, I was just ratting normally in an asteroid belt. It was a normal fleet. There was a battleship and a couple of cruisers, and as I was attacking them, several mining barges warped in. That's not that unusual. NPC mining fleets come in all the time. This was a Garista's one because we're in Garista's space, and that's fine. I wasn't too concerned about that. Just carried on with my ratting. Left the miners alone, as far as I know, because I was attacking the battleship. But then almost instantly, so as soon as the mining barges landed, then the defence fleet came in as well. A whole load of diamond rats. If you're not sure what diamond rats are, have a quick Google of them. They'll come up on the overview as with a diamond at the start of their name. So these were a bunch of caracals and a couple of other ships. But they're the defence fleet for the mining operations. Now, I don't know if it's just because I was there, and so that triggered the defence fleet, but that seems a little bit unfair. But so it landed, really quite and quickly engaged me, but they're very well organised fleets, so I was still pulling my drones in and aligning by the time. So yeah, these diamond rats are supposed to operate more like proper PvP fleets. Apparently they actually learn from and are designed based on actual PvP fleets in game. So they landed there must have been 15-ish caracals, and then in amongst that there was also a tackle frigate who flew up and warp scrammed me immediately. But there's just one of them, so again I wasn't overly concerned because I was like, okay, well I can take that out and then warp out. But then they also came down with a blackbird, which had ECM jamming capability, and it got, I don't know if I just got unlucky or if it has really strong ECM jamming, but it jammed me on the first cycle, so I couldn't target lock anything except the blackbird, and that all happened, I'd say about 5 seconds, 6, 7 seconds from the mining barges entering the belt for all of that to happen, for this other fleet to land, for me to get scrammed, and then for me to be jammed. I'd say, yeah, 6 or 7 seconds. And then because I was jammed, I couldn't target anything to take out the frigate. So obviously, I tried to take out the Blackbird so that I could then target the frigate and take out the frigate. But 15 caracals just blew me off the field. I was flying a Gila, and they just melted through my shield really nice and quickly. So that was a bit of a shock, but also good to learn. So now, if I see that, if in future a mining barge fleet drops in, I will just be immediately leaving. My drones can stay behind. It's not worth losing 300 million for the sake of 5 million. Same for the MTU and things. But because I didn't know much about this fleet, I thought I had a few seconds to pull my drones in and get aligned, but I didn't. As I say, 6 or 7 seconds. It went from the first mining barges entering the field to me being scrammed and jammed. And I'm not aware that I attacked the barges, so I was surprised that the defence fleet even came in at all. Because in HiSec, with these NPC mining fleets, you can just be next to them, right? You can just get mine next to them or fly next to them as long as you don't aggress them. And I thought that was the same for null, but I guess it could be because I've got bad standing with Garistas. They're pirates, so maybe just by being in the system, in the belt, it just immediately triggered the defense fleet as well. Who knows? As I say, as that I've learnt from that now. If I ever see another one, I'm warping straight out, and maybe coming back with a small fleet of my own, because they're supposed to be worth picking up. Like, I think if there's haulers in there, they can have sort of 100 million's worth of ore inside. So they're worth looking at. But anyway, so that was Tuesday. That was a bit of a surprise. So I picked up another Gila, went back to ratting to earn that back, and then as well, I'm very grateful to the guys that are hosting us and what they're willing to do. I then got tackled by a player in a stiletto. Yeah, stiletto. And again, this is all because I'm not a hugely experienced PvP player. This is all really valuable stuff to learn. In my ratting Gila, I've only got medium drones because the massive buff. The purpose of a Gila is to run medium combat drones. None of the bonuses apply to any other sides of drone, so I normally only have medium drones in my drone bay. But the stiletto that came down and tackled me, and he held me there for ages. His support fleet was miles away. They must have been 4 or 5 jumps away. But he just orbited me at 30 kilometers, or 27ish, so sort of the range of the warp scram. And at that range, he was able to move at 4,500 meters per second consistently, so my drones couldn't catch him up. And my missiles did virtually nothing. They'd sort of scratch him a little bit, but the drones just couldn't catch him. I think the fastest drones I had at the time were Vespers, perhaps, and they could go somewhere close to 3,500 meters per second. But when the stiletto's doing 4.5, they just couldn't catch him. He just orbited in that fashion. What's a little bit annoying is that you can't tell your drones to be sensible, so they just chase them around in the circle, and when you pull them back in and send them out again, they just go back to chasing them around the circle. Whereas obviously what you would do if you had greater control of them is send them off to cut the stiletto off, cut him off in a known direction, so that either they get a few good shots off if he carries on at the same speed past them, or he'd slow down to turn around and avoid them, at which point he's slowed down and you can catch him with your drones anyway. So that's what you would do if the mechanics allowed, but they don't. So it was useful to know that if I've only got medium drones in the ship, Stiletto can hold me indefinitely. I just cannot touch him. and presumably there's other ships, any frigate that can go 4,500 meters per second will be able to do the same. So as I say, that was really useful to find out. And my hosts, as I was in a standing fleet, as you should always be down here, just said I needed help, and they came and suicided, because by that stage of EdMac had come to start attacking me, and they suicided a much cheaper ship to save the Gila, the 300 odd million. I was pretty grateful, because having just lost one Gila to NPCs would have been a bit annoying to have lost a second one an hour later in PvP as well. So I tried to throw him some cash, but he wasn't having it and just gave it back, which is again really nice. And we saved the Gila, so all good. But yeah, so a couple of bits to learn on the Tuesday there about how the NPC fleets sort of work, and also about the fast tackle ships. You just cannot touch them with medium drones. So my potential solution at the moment is A, pay more attention, don't get caught, and B, have a couple of light drones that maybe, if they can operate at close to sort of 5,000 meters per second, then you could take out the stiletto, or at least scare him off before the support fleet turns up to do the DPS on you. So that, as I say, that was Tuesday. Quite an exciting evening, considering all I was sort of planning on doing was crabbing. And then on Wednesday, we organised so in Disa, we went to do a roam in Pochven, in the Triglavian space, to raise standings with Trigs and Edencom. that also was pretty disastrous. Funny though, like we were on comms just having a good time, having a laugh with each other. No one was that bothered about any loss. It was just funny stuff. But again, good to learn a whole bunch of mechanics that I just didn't know about, and no one in our fleet knew about. So all important stuff to learn if we want to go and do some of this stuff in the future. So we were in Drekovac fleet, so that we could remote rep each other and still do damage. We filamented into Pochven. A few of us had very small positive standings with Triglavians, because we'd been in Pochven already on a roam, but a couple of the guys didn't have positive standings, so they would have been shot on sight by Trigs. If you've got even the slightest positive standing, Triglavians will leave you alone. They just become NPCs with the white icon. So we were warping to, those of us with standings, popped into a few asteroid belts and a couple of the sites just to see what was there. I warped into an asteroid belt where there was a sleeper battleship and a drifter cruiser. They're what we want to kill, because they raise standings with both Edencom and Triglavians. So I said, yep, there's a couple of them here, this is where we want to go. So warped back to the safe spot, everyone reconvened, gathered, and we warped in as a fleet. We won't make this mistake again, but we warped in as a fleet, and the spawn had changed. In the minute and a half it had taken to do that, the drifter and sleeper had gone and had been replaced by a large Triglavian fleet. So again, ordinarily not a problem. Those of us with positive standings with them just walked in and saw a fleet of white icons, but the last person to land had negative, or at least 0 trig standings, and so they all aggressed him. There's nothing we can do about that. So what we'll have to do in the future is only those with positive standings warp in first to make sure the spawn is the same, and when we are sure of that, then those without positive standings can warp in as well. But they have warp scrams and stuff, so you can't. The Triglavians they're really good fleets, so you can't warp out. So I thought, well, he's probably dead. No big deal. He wasn't bothered about it, but at least like we can sort of keep him alive while we talk about whether it's possible to save him or not, or whether we just leave him to die and go off and do something else. So I targeted him and started repping him, and what I didn't know is then that meant the Triglavians then aggressed me, which yeah, I had no idea because I repped someone they have negative standings with. It didn't reduce my standings with them, but that fleet went red to me. But again, the timing of it was annoying. So instead of, and this is, I don't know if this is a bug or it's just CCP being a bit dodgy and trying to remove some ISK from the game or something. But instead of so what I would have expected to happen is if when I started repping him, they should have turned red to me straight away, because they should have gone, okay, he's repping an enemy of our nation, therefore he's an enemy, let's kill him. But instead what happened was I started repping him. It didn't take very long, but I started repping him, and then they eventually, and nothing happened, nothing changed. And then once they killed him, as soon as they killed him, they all went red to me, and could start killing me. That's fine, don't have too much problem with that. But they had the warp scrambles on him, so if I realised my mistake, and if I'd realised that, by repping him I'm going to become enemy, if they'd done that while he was still alive and I was repping him, I'd have had time to warp out. I'd have seen them go red and warp out. But instead, CCB or Triglavians or whoever waited until the person I was repping had died before they went red, at which point they insta-locked and scrammed. So there was no chance I could warp out. And then they just blew me up. And Triglavian's pod as well. So we just got podded straight out of Pochven. And again, I got no problem with that at all. As a mechanic of the game I didn't know about and have now subsequently learnt. And on comms we were just laughing about it. We thought it was hilarious. We just thought it was really funny. Obviously it meant the fleet was over because two of us had immediately just been removed from Pochven. But yeah, we just thought it was really funny. We were laughing with each other, having a good time. Our FC took it a little bit hard because he took responsibility for it, but in my opinion, not his responsibility at that point. He didn't tell me to rep the person. I did that of my own accord because I didn't understand the mechanics, and it got me blown up. That's fine. I've got no problem with it. What I do have a slight problem with, as I've just said, is the delay, like the rats waiting until their current target was dead before setting me to red. But that is what it is. I'm not going to raise a ticket with CCP because it might be a deliberate action from them to remove a bit of ISK from the game. But yeah, so that meant it'd been an expensive week so far. I lost a Gila and a Drekovac. So I've then, towards the end of the week, just done a little bit of ratting again, trying to get that up, trying to get the wallet up a little bit. But so that's sort of all there really is to report. Friday we closed out the giveaway that we were running. Scrappy Tracer won it. He hasn't picked up the contract yet, so if he doesn't pick up the contract in maybe by next Friday, we might have to re-roll the giveaway for someone else. But the giveaway is closed. You can't enter that anymore. We'll just do it with whoever's currently entered. But hopefully Scrappy logs in soon and accepts the contract, because there is a fully fit Stratios waiting for him in Jita. And next week it's probably going to be more of the same. What I do want to get a little bit more involved in the politics down here. I need to talk to our C5 wormhole friends as well, because they're going to watch this. They might watch this video and hear that I've been in null for a little bit. So I need to talk to a bunch of people. Need to get more involved with the politics and stuff down here, and because we're not formally in the alliance, so people that guns are able to set to blue don't know that we're then possibly blue to them and things. So there's a risk of miscommunication and mistakes being made. So yeah, as I said, I need to get myself more involved in that. But it's been I had some real life stuff going on this week that stopped me. So basically, I wanted to use Eve this week as a way of chilling out. So that's where the nullsec ratting's been really quite nice. You have to pay enough attention to not die, but you can just sort of sit there and do what you want at this as well. It's not like so there's been previous weeks where I've spent all day every day on Discord chatting to people on 6 or 7 different servers trying to work out what's going on. I did none of that this week. I just sort of checked myself out of it, and just chilled and focused on enjoying the game in a chilled manner because of the real life stuff. So this week maybe we'll pile back onto all the Discords, get stuck in again, really push activity within our corporation as well, because I've been slacking on that, and yeah, see where we end up this time next week. I do want to do about a couple more videos on combat anomalies, and possibly combat sites and stuff in null, because as we're here, I'll try and continue the Stratios series. We're up to a port now, but the Gila is just so strong. The reason I run the Stratios series is because if you're running solo and you're doing a bit of exploration, you end up in nullsec and you want to go run some sites. That's why I do it. Whereas the Gila is more, obviously if you're living down there and you've got stations and stuff where you can stash everything. But I might do it. It's so good. I think I've gone as high as a Haven so far in this. I had no problems with that, so it's tempting to take on the Sanctum. But I haven't tried that yet. But yeah, so I'll accept that, and then that's another. What a guy! I've been losing a lot of MTUs, as well, because that's just something else. Because I've decided to value my ship more than my MTUs. I've been warping out. Sometimes I forget to bookmark them, and then I forget to, or if I do bookmark them, like just earlier, someone in an Omen Navy issue came in, and so I walked out, and he just killed my MTU and then left, just to basically be a bit annoying. So I lose a lot of them. So this is one I'd lost because I forgot to bookmark it. This guy scanned it down, and that's just excellent. But that's the video for me this week, really. As I say, we'll try and produce some more videos, and definitely another one next Sunday. I'm also trying to push 500 subscribers, so if any of you watching this aren't subscribed and you like it, please do. It really means a lot. Also, if you're really enjoying the channel, you are subscribed and you're part of the channel, you want to help it grow, please like the video, and leave a comment and stuff. Any activity on the video helps YouTube promote it, so the more views, the more comments, the more likes, YouTube then promote it more heavily, and it turns up in people's recommended and things. So really, any activity really helps the channel grow, and it means a huge amount. But anyway, I don't want to plug that too much because it does annoy me when other YouTubers plug their, you open up the video and you've got the obligatory please subscribe, please like, please push, but turns out you have to do it every now and again. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all next week. Have a good one. Cheers.